For nearly half a century, we were told that fat was the enemy. Cut the fat, we were promised, and you'll save your heart and your waistline. So we did. We embraced low fat and fat-free. And here's the uncomfortable truth. As a society, we got heavier, sicker, and more diabetic than ever before. So what on earth went wrong? Here's what went wrong. When the food industry stripped the fat out of our food, they had to replace it with something to make it taste good. And what they reached for was sugar and refined carbs, the very things we talked about in episode 1. We didn't get healthier. We just traded one problem for a worse one. So today, in the final part of this series, we set the record straight on the most unfairly feared nutrient of all. By the end, you'll know what fat actually does, the real difference between the fats that protect you and the fat that harms you, and how to choose without fear. Stay with me, because there's a fat that actively protects your heart and brain, and there's exactly one fat truly worth avoiding. I'll tell you both. This is part 3, the finale. Let's clear up fat for good. Let's start with what fat actually does, because it's not optional. It's essential. Fat is a concentrated source of energy. It builds the membrane around every single cell in your body. Your brain is roughly 60% fat. Fat is what allows you to absorb the crucial vitamins A, D, E, and K. It's used to make hormones, and it keeps you full and satisfied after a meal. A body starved of healthy fat doesn't get leaner and healthier. It struggles. So the question was never whether to eat fat. It's which fats. Because just like carbs, the type changes everything. Let's meet the good guys, unsaturated fats. These are the fats found in olive oil, avocados, nuts, seeds, and fish. Decades of research link them to better heart health, lower inflammation, and a sharper brain. These are the fats to build your meals around. Drizzled, sliced, and enjoyed without guilt. And within that group is a standout. The fat I promised protects your heart and your brain. Omega-3. You'll find it in fatty fish like salmon and sardines, and in plant sources like walnuts, flax, and chia. Remember the walnut from our nuts video? This is exactly why it earned the top spot. Omega-3s help calm inflammation, and they're genuine building blocks for your brain. If there's one fat to make sure you're getting, it's this one. Now, saturated fat, the one in butter, cheese, and fatty meat. For years, this was branded the great villain. The honest, up-to-date answer is more nuanced than that. The science is far less black and white than the old blanket warnings suggested. Most guidance still leans toward favoring unsaturated fats over saturated ones. But saturated fat is not the simple poison it was made out to be. Enjoy it in moderation, ideally from whole foods rather than heavily processed ones. And you don't need to panic about a little butter. But there is one fat genuinely worth avoiding: artificial trans fat. This is the manufactured fat, often listed as partially hydrogenated oil, that turns up in some fried foods and ultra-processed packaged snacks. Unlike the others, it offers your body nothing good and is clearly linked to harm. The good news is that it's been banned or reduced in many places, but it still hides in some processed foods, so it's worth a glance at the label for those words. Partially hydrogenated. Which reveals the real lesson. The problem was never the fat on your avocado or the olive oil on your salad, or the handful of nuts. The fats that harm us are overwhelmingly the ones fried into and processed into ultra-processed food. Whole food fats, embrace them. Processed and fried fats, that's where to be careful. So here's how to put it to work. Build your fats around whole foods: olive oil, avocado, nuts, seeds, and fish. Make sure you're getting your omega-3. Skip the artificial trans fats hiding in ultra-processed food. And here's a bonus that ties it all together. Because fat helps you absorb the vitamins in vegetables, drizzling a little olive oil over your veggies literally helps your body get more out of them. And that brings our whole series to a close. 3 nutrients: carbs, protein, and fat. And if you noticed, the lesson was the same every single time. It was never cut out a nutrient. Carbs weren't the enemy. Protein wasn't about shakes. And fat was never the villain. Every time, the real answer was simply this: choose whole over processed. Get that one idea right, and the rest takes care of itself. So tell me in the comments, which nutrient had you most fooled? Carbs, protein, or fat? For me, the fat myth did the most damage. If this series helped you, give it a like so it reaches more people who've been confused by decades of mixed messages. And subscribe! There's plenty more simple science-based health coming. Thank you for watching the whole series with me. Eat whole. Start today. I'll see you in the next one.